Good afternoon, my Real News Media TV family. Welcome back to the channel for another news update. And in the news this afternoon, 3 shocking murder cases recently now headed for court. 3 shocking murder cases recently have resulted in arrest and charges by investigators in 3 different police divisions. In one case, 27-year-old Javon Dyer, a construction worker of Bryan Hill, Crooked River, Clarendon, has been charged with several offenses following the murder of 49-year-old Rohan Gentles, a bus driver of Christiana Manchester, at Homewood Technical High School in Manchester on Friday, November 15, 2024. Dyer has been charged with murder, unauthorized possession of ammunition, possession of prohibited weapon, and using a firearm to commit a felony. Reports from the Christiana police are that about 8:10 a.m., Gentles arrived on the school compound, exited the bus, and was standing outside the unit when he was pounced upon by a man who was armed with a handgun. The assailant opened a gunfire, hitting Gentles in the head before escaping from the scene. The police were summoned and the Gentles was assisted to the hospital where he was pronounced dead. Following an investigation, Dyer was arrested and placed in custody. On Wednesday, January 15, video identification was done and Dyer was identified as the person who shot and killed the Gentles. A question and answer interview was conducted with Dyer in the presence of his attorney, after which he was charged in relation to the incident. His court date is being arranged. Elsewhere, detectives from the St. Andrew Central Police have charged the 23-year-old Avon Sutherland, otherwise called the Tugs, of Lothar Avenue, Kingston 13, following his alleged involvement in a murder along Malines Road in St. Andrew on Thursday, December 19, 2024. Dead is 61-year-old Wayne Cephas, who was reportedly a production manager at the Fosrich Company Limited in St. Andrew and resided at Portmore Pines in St. Catherine. Reports indicated that about 3:55 p.m., Cephas was driving his motor car and upon approaching an intersection, 2 men approached his vehicle on a motorcycle. The pillion rider opened a gunfire at Cephas, hitting him to his upper body before escaping. Cephas lost the control of his motor vehicle, which collided with 2 other automobiles. The police were alerted and the Cephas was taken to the hospital where he was pronounced dead. A police investigation led to Sutherland being charged after being pointed out during an identification parade and a formal interview conducted with him. His court date is being arranged. And in St. Mary, members of the parish's Criminal Investigations Branch have charged 39-year-old Labed Carr, also known as Chubby, of Sligo Road, Mountain View, St. Andrew, with a murder. The charge followed the discovery of the body of a female on Sunday, January 5, in a gully along the Devon Penn Main Road in Castleton, St. Mary. The deceased female has been identified as 16-year-old Jadine Gale, also known as a Big Red, from Sligo Road, Mountain View, St. Andrew. She was reportedly noticeably pregnant. Reports from the Port Maria police are that about 4:11 p.m., residents found Gale's body and alerted them. On their arrival, the police found the body wrapped in a tarpaulin in the gully. The body was subsequently removed and taken to the hospital where she was pronounced dead. Further investigations led to Carr being identified as the primary suspect in the case. He was subsequently arrested and charged following a question and answer session with the investigators. His court date is also being arranged. Indicom probing fatal St. Catherine prison disturbance. The Independent Commission of Investigations is probing a disturbance at the St. Catherine Adult Correctional Center in which an inmate was fatally stabbed on Friday. The deceased has been identified as Jermaine Rogers. Indicom Commissioner Hugh Faulkner told the news that the agency's investigators are seeking to determine the full circumstances leading to the death of Mr. Rogers. He said initial reports suggest that the death arose from a confrontation between 2 inmates. Indicom is also investigating reports of the firing of shots by correctional officers to quell inmate disturbance.
The Indicom team, in canvassing witnesses, collecting statements, and pursuing forensic exhibits, is seeking to determine the full circumstances leading to the death of inmate Mr. Jermaine Rogers. Initial reports suggest that a confrontation between two inmates led to the demise of Mr. Rogers. Mr. Rogers was taken to the facility's medical unit and then the Spanish Town Hospital. A reported discharge of firearm by correctional officers to quell inmate disturbance is also being investigated.
PNP vows to cut electricity cost by more than US 30 cents per kilowatt hour. Philip Paulwell, the opposition spokesman on energy and climate change, says that should the People's National Party form the next government, it has already developed a plan to reduce the cost of electricity by more than US 30 cents per kilowatt hour. In addition, Paulwell said if the PNP is successful in the general election, which is constitutionally due within another 8 months, the administration will also eliminate electricity theft within their first term. I am determined to bring the cost of electricity down from the current US 40-odd cents to US 15 cents per kilowatt hour. And I am so convinced and enthused, and that's the reason why I can come here and put my ideas on the line, said Paulwell, who was speaking during last Thursday's town hall in Cornwall Court, which attracted residents from other communities in the St. James Central constituency. According to Paulwell, the measures under consideration are crucial for achieving economic growth and ensuring a more efficient and affordable energy sector for all Jamaicans. Paulwell, who served as the Minister of Energy, Mining, Science and Technology under the last PNP administration, said he has been crunching the numbers on electricity energy cost, looking at how best to ease the pressure of the high cost of electricity on all sectors of the country. While you, the current Jamaica Labour Party administration, might have not been wasting time in government, in opposition, I spent a lot of time studying and looking at what is happening in the world and understanding why it is possible, said Paulwell, referencing the PNP's energy policy designed to reduce the cost of energy to both residential and commercial customers. On the issue of electricity theft, Paulwell said approximately 200,000 of the more than 600,000 on the Jamaica public service grid are stealing electricity, which is creating an extra layer of hardship on the paying customers, which is something he says the PNP intends to fix. In 2001, the government of Jamaica sold 80% of the GPS to Miranda Corporation, an international energy company. This sale marked the partial privatization of GPS. The government kept 20% of the shares, while the remaining 1% of shares went to minority shareholders. Paulwell said when the PNP ran the GPS before it was sold in 2001, the amount of theft where people are illegally extracting electricity from the GPS grid was far less than it is today. At the time of the sale, people thought that you are going to bring in private sector to make the cost of electricity more efficient, but the level of theft is greater now because people have gotten poorer, said Paulwell. I am not justifying theft, but when you have a picnic, you have to go and do homework for primary exit profile, then you understand why electricity is a necessity and it must be a right. I believe that the government has a responsibility to deal with the theft because when you go to pay your bill, you are paying for that theft. Paulwell also argued that the level of theft represents approximately 17 to 20% of a customer's GPS bill on a monthly basis, which he sees as a low-hanging fruit to solve. Get rid of that and your bills will be down by almost 20%, said Paulwell, who noted that solar technology could be creatively used to end electricity theft. I tabled in Parliament 3 years now a plan to reduce or eliminate the theft of electricity, but the government has ignored it completely. The Prime Minister spoke about pivoting to grow, and we welcome the talk about growth, but the most important pivot for me is to pivot to cheaper electricity, and that has not happened, and that's one of the main reasons why we have not seen growth in our economy. Guys, thank you for watching. See you this evening at 6 p.m. for another news update.